Hello, I'm Lee Carter, President of Sleep Essentials. If you found this video, it's probably because you're on the internet doing research, trying to learn a little bit more about mattresses before you make your next purchase. Well, if such is the case, you've landed on the right spot. This video is going to be very lengthy. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about mattresses that's important. The mattress industry, especially the bigger the brand name, large mattress manufacturers, are notorious for making an inferior quality product and spin it to you as if it's a superior quality product. I want to teach you a little bit about that. I've been in the mattress business. I've owned my own mattress store now 10 years. And I'm going to teach you all of the things that I experienced in running this business. And those experiences are going to help you make a good decision in buying a mattress. It's actually a very good possibility that you've actually had bad experiences. You've bought a mattress that didn't last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Well, I'm going to show you why that happened. I'm also going to teach you a great deal about something that you really need to know about, and it's very, very important, and it has to do with government regulations on mattresses. The government now requires, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, to be more specific, requires mattresses to be flame-proof, meaning they must meet a very strict flammability standard. The primary reason, or the primary way mattress manufacturers meet these regulations is by infusing the surface materials of the mattresses with toxic fire retardant chemicals. These chemicals you need to know about and how they affect your health. And I'm going to show you that they didn't do this to make you healthy. They did this to make, well, they had ulterior motives. Let's just start there. I'm not going to get into too much detail before I get started. I'm also going to tell you, listen, I'm doing this right off the top of my head. As you can probably tell, I'm not reading a teleprompter. I'm talking to you into the camera the same as if I would be talking to someone who was standing in front of me in my showroom. And I'm going to teach you everything I know. Now, in order to teach you about mattresses, the first thing I have to teach you is about polyurethane foam. Polyurethane foam is made from petroleum. It's essentially plastic, and it's the most used material in the production of mattresses today. You need to know what polyurethane foam is and how it lasts, or its durability. Now, I'm going to pick on Tempur Pedic. I'm using Tempur Pedic simply because they claim to be the best, and their mattresses are 100% polyurethane foam. Now, to prove that, I have a copy of Tempur Pedic's Lull label. They have a Lull label on their mattresses, and you'll notice on this Lull label it says, distributed by Tempur Pedic Incorporated, polyurethane foam, 100%. So a Tempur Pedic mattress is 100% polyurethane foam. I have one of their brochures here, and it shows every different model of memory foam mattresses they make, and you just see it's all foam. And the chief characteristic of all polyurethane foam is that it softens substantially with use. Now, to prove that, now in this video I'm going to make a lot of claims, but I'm going to back up all my claims with proof. So to prove that Tempur Pedic, or not just Tempur Pedic, but polyurethane foam softens, I've got a copy of Tempur Pedic's warranty. Now, this is an old warranty. This is a 20-year warranty. Today, Tempur Pedic only offers 10 years, but it's noteworthy to pay attention to what it says in the fine print of the warranty. Now, most consumers do not read the fine print of a warranty, but pay attention to what this one says. In the first paragraph, it says, "It is understood this limited warranty does not include a normal increase in softness of the Tempur pressure relieving material." So they admit to you that their genuine Tempur material, that they claim is genuine and completely different from everybody else's, although their Lull label says 100% polyurethane foam, so when we get down to brass tacks, it's 100% plastic. They admit in the fine print of their warranty that it softens with use. Now, if it takes 20 years to soften, that wouldn't be so bad. Let's look at how quickly it softens. Now, ePinions is a place where people write in about the products they buy. You can go to ePinions and look up any kind of large brand name, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that have gone there and written out a testimonial. This woman writes, "Tempur Pedic did not last, not worth the money. For the first 4 years that I owned the mattress, I loved it. I'm now 6 months into the 5th year and I'm very disappointed. Now notice she says something has changed in 4.5 years. Now she doesn't get very specific, but this next customer does. This next testimonial on eOpinions, this customer does. She writes, I was a die-hard Tempur Pedic fan with the emphasis on was. Count the bed lasting for about 4 years only. My husband and I are both thin and his side started softening, there's the key word, after 4 years. It's now 4.5 years later. While my side is not as soft as his, it's catching up quickly and we both wake up with backaches. Well, of course they're waking up with backaches. It once was firm, it once gave great support, but as it softens, it sags and you're sleeping in a dip that curves your spine. Imagine sleeping like this all night. If the foam softens, it fails to support you. Now, I've given you 2 pieces of evidence that polyurethane foam softens, but I picked on Tempur Pedic. Now, I used to sell, when I first started the mattress business, Sleep Essentials, I sold the largest selection of memory foam mattresses in Roanoke, Virginia at the time. And I didn't sell the Tempur Pedic brand. I sold the other brands just like a Tempur Pedic. I had 7 different models of memory foam in my showroom, and I thought memory foam was the best thing in the world. And you kind of got to understand for a minute, my idea when I started my retail business was to market myself to chiropractors, osteopaths, physical therapists, massage therapists for the referrals of their patients. I thought at the time that memory foam was the best mattress available for back support. Within a year of operating my business and selling memory foam, I learned that it softens substantially with use, just like I read in the Tempur Pedic warranty. Now, I didn't sell Tempur Pedic. Again, I sold Dormia. Now, I have a copy of the Dormia warranty here, and it says 25-year limited warranty. Now, by the way, this is a Dormia demo unit, and they sent to me to kind of demonstrate what the mattress looks like. As you can see, this is your memory foam, your slow recovery foam. This is your base support foam. This is quick recovery foam. But all of this is polyurethane. It's plastic. And to read the Dormia warranty, notice it says, it is understood this does not include a normal increase in softness in the foam. So even a Dormia mattress, which is 100% plastic, they admit it softens with the foam. So what I'm teaching you is that plastic foam softens. And plastic foam is in all mattresses today. The bigger the brand name, the lower the grade the polyurethane, and the slicker the marketing tactics. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about marketing tactics in a minute. Notice also it says in this warranty, it does not include a deterioration of the foam with an indentation of less than 1.9 of an inch. Now what they're saying is that your mattress has to have a 1.9 inch, or basically 2 inch deep dip, permanent dip in the mattress before it's covered under warranty. The 2 things that are going to go wrong with the memory foam mattress are not covered in the fine print of the warranty. Mattress manufacturers know the consumer doesn't read the fine print, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't be real certain as to what they're reading. So it's a gimmick. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the warranty. Warranties are gimmicks. And I think that the Tempur Pedic and the Dormia warranty illustrates this. It's a marketing gimmick. That's the first marketing gimmick. Now, I used to sell big brand name mattresses. Big brand name, you've heard of the big brand names. You probably own one now. The one that I sold one in particular was Spring Air. Spring Air at the time was the 4th largest manufacturer in the United States. I don't know what their standing is now, probably 5th, who knows. But they were notorious for making a great mattress according to the marketing spin. But I can tell you after 2 years of selling it, it was mainly marketing spin. It was not a quality product. Now notice it says here the never turn mattress. Today most large mattress manufacturers make a mattress so you no longer have to flip it over. Now that sounds like a great feature. I mean, you think of an elderly woman or an elderly couple or a single woman or something like that, she can't turn the mattress over, right? So that marketing idea sounds like a great idea. You no longer have to turn their mattresses over. The truth is they didn't put any upholstery on the bottom side. You couldn't flip it over if you wanted to. It's cheaper to make by not putting the upholstery on the bottom side, but then they have to convince you that it's no longer turnable. You no longer have to flip it. See, there's a difference between the reality of they made the mattress cheaper and the marketing spin. It's now a never turn mattress. You couldn't turn it over anyway. There's nothing on the bottom side. Now, when I first got started in the business, my mattress manufacturer's rep told me that, well, what they've done is they've taken the expense of the materials on the bottom side and put higher quality materials on the top side. You may even run into this if you go into a mattress showroom floor and a mattress salesman says, well, no, we've put greater materials on the front side so it lasts twice as long on that one side and you don't have to flip it anymore. But my experience in the business selling spring air mattresses, selling the big brand name mattresses, they didn't put greater materials because I can tell you that people complain constantly about the body impression that forms in the mattress just in a few years. Now, to give you the first example, when I first got started in the business, I probably hadn't been in the business 4 or 5 months. Some friends of mine came to buy a mattress, and they bought a really thick pillow top mattress. This mattress must have been, 20, 22 inches thick, and the pillow top was that thick. And when you lay on it when it's new in the showroom floor, it just felt wonderful. Within 6 months, they called me up and said the mattress has got this huge dip in it. And we're not comfortable in the mattress anymore. Now, since I was new in the business, I said, well, let me call my manufacturer's rep and find out, what to do about it. I called Danny. Danny was his name. I said, Danny, I've got a customer that's complaining about the body impressions in their mattress. And he said, well, body impressions are normal. And I said, well, they may be normal, but my customer doesn't like it. And he said, well, we can take care of it. I'll go inspect it, and if it's deeper than 1.5 inches, we'll replace it. He went to look at it. Whether or not it had 1.5 inches deep dip, I'm not sure. But even if it has 1 inch dip, that's enough to make a customer very angry. He wanted to take care of me because I was a new client for him. I was a new a source of selling his mattresses. So he wanted to take care of me. We replaced their mattress. It was at this time that I got the idea, maybe if I give you another one just like it, it's just going to dip again. 6 months, it got a huge dip in it. And it's coming from polyurethane foam. And it also illustrates that they didn't put a greater material on the one side because they've taken the expense out of this side. They're still putting cheap materials here. In fact, it's as cheap as it's ever been. And they're not putting anything here. So your average mattress, my experience in selling big brand name mattresses that are one-sided to the consumers, they last 2, 3, if you're lucky, 4 years. And actually, it probably lasts less than that. People just tolerate it for a while, and finally, after 4 years, I can't take it anymore. That's what they're doing. They're coming into my showroom floor. So one of the marketing spins is your warranty that doesn't cover anything. The mattress is no longer a flippable mattress. Nonsense. They didn't put any upholstery on the bottom side. Now, here's another thing. Down here at the bottom, it says foam encased wireless edge. And it says creates a superior sitting edge. Now, this is the example that they gave. You see here, it has a 3-inch foam border goes around the outside edge of the mattress. This is called foam encasement. When you go into a showroom, a new showroom, and you sit on the edge of the beds, and if you run into a slick salesman, he's going to say, look, we firmed up the edge. And you sit on it, this foam, when it's new, is nice and firm. But I've already proven to you that polyurethane foam softens substantially with use. So if you sit on the edge of one of these foam encased beds every morning to get dressed, put your shoes on, watch TV, you're going to soften that foam. As I've already illustrated, polyurethane foam softens. In fact, as a matter of fact, let me step back a minute. I sold one of these Dormia mattresses just to illustrate how quickly it softens. One of these Dormia mattresses to a man, I bet, weighed 400 pounds. And guess what? He wore it out in 1 year. 1 year, he called me up and said, it's just got this soft spot right here. He slept in a king by himself. He said, if I roll over to the middle of the bed or the other side, it's just as firm as it was new. 1 year. The average couple weighing, 200 pounds and 150 pounds, they wear it out in 3 or 4 years. Okay? Well, they're claiming they foam encase it to firm up the edge, but I've already proven to you that foam softens with use. Sitting on it's going to soften it. So it begs the question, what's the real reason they foam encase it? Well, they've reduced the amount of springs they use in it by 18% by putting this 3-inch foam border around it. So they didn't put the foam there to give it a firmer sitting edge. They put the foam there to cut the costs. And then they spin it, or they market it to you as if they've done you a favor. Now, as a matter of fact, I sold one of these foam encased mattresses to an elderly woman. When I delivered it to her home, when I first got started in the business, I did all my own deliveries. Of course, when you're trying to get a business started, you cut a lot of costs. I worked a lot of late evenings delivering mattresses. I sold one of these foam encased mattresses to a woman that was an elderly woman. She had an oxygen tube and an oxygen concentrator, so she was very immobile. She sat on the edge of the bed right here every morning and spent a lot of time there. She called me in 8 months. Okay? She called me in 8 months and said the edge of this mattress has just collapsed. I just sink right down through it. Well, because the polyurethane foam softens. As you can see, they're using a lot of polyurethane foam and a lot of slick marketing to convince you that their inferior product is a superior product. Now, I hope you can see that. Now, I want to teach you a little bit about something else that's an alternative to plastic foam. It's called latex foam. Now, latex is the sap of a tree, whereas the polyurethane foam is plastic. It's a petrochemical product. Latex is the sap of a tree. I actually have a piece of latex here. This is a piece of latex foam rubber. Latex lasts 40 years. Now, interestingly enough, I had learned a little bit about these after a couple of years, and so I realized that, you know, if you think about it, if I market myself to the chiropractors and the osteopaths for the referrals of their patients, if I sell them a memory foam mattress that wears out in 1 to 4 years, that customer is going to convey that poor quality product to the referral source, and that referral source is no longer going to refer their patients to me. So I knew, thinking forward, if this stuff doesn't last, I better get rid of it. So what I did was, I was learning that latex is the sap of a tree, and it has an extremely long durability, a long life. So what I did was, I moved the memory foam out and I brought in brand name latex. Okay? Now let me illustrate to you how durable latex is. Because I'm going to make a lot of claims in this video, and I'm going to back them all up with the evidence. I'm going to try to the best of my ability, and I think you'll see it, that I'm making the case for everything I'm claiming. Now, when I deliver mattresses I sell, I haul off the used mattress for my customers. Occasionally I run across somebody that has a latex mattress. And I started documenting how long these people tell me they've had their latex mattress. Now, I started documenting this for a very good reason. As you can imagine, when people come, and a lot of people come through my doors and say, you know, their last mattress didn't last 3 or 4 or 5 years and they're replacing it. Well, what happened was, I was learning about latex and I knew how durable it was. And I was here on a Saturday and a man pulled into the parking lot. When he got out of his truck, I saw how big he was. He was big this way and this way. And I thought, can't sell him anything but latex, because anything else he's going to destroy. Way too many people have complained about their mattresses, especially if they're a larger size. Well, when he came in my doors, I said, is there anything in particular you're looking for? And he said, the cheapest mattress you got. Now, typically, people, when they say cheap mattress, they want something for a spare bedroom, something for a small child. You know, they're not going to spend a lot of money. Well, I took him over to the cheapest stuff I had, and I said to him, what size you need? And he said, king. Now, typically, you know, wheels are turning in my head. I was like, you know, people typically don't buy a king for the spare bedroom. So I said, is this for you? And he said, yes. I'm thinking, man, we're going in the wrong direction, because he's going to complain. I mean, he's going to come back to my doors and really bitch because I sold him a mattress didn't last very long. So I said to him, I was like, do you mind if I'm very frank with you? He said, by all means. And I said, the mattress that you're looking at is not going to last a year under your weight. You're larger than the average person. I've sold a lot of mattresses to different people, and I know what you can expect in performance in this cheap mattress that you're looking at. It's just not going to last. He said, I know. I buy a new mattress every year. And he said, this is the kicker. He said, I've bought cheap mattresses, I've bought expensive mattresses. He said the expensive ones last no longer than cheap ones, so I just buy a new mattress every year. I buy a cheap mattress every year. So after I met him, I said, well, actually, I know of a product that would last under your weight 40 years. And so I wanted to show him my latex mattresses. Now you can imagine he's gun shy. He's bought expensive mattresses and they didn't last. So latex is not a cheap mattress. He wanted proof that what I was claiming was true. And I, at the time, had no way to prove that latex was that durable. So since I met that man, and I didn't have any success in selling him anything that day, since I met the man, I started documenting how durable latex is. Now when I deliver mattresses I sell, I haul off the used mattress for my customers, and occasionally I run across somebody that has a latex mattress. So I started documenting this. Now the first one that I documented, this woman right here, I pulled the Lull label off her mattress. As you can see at the top of the label, it says latex rubber foam, all new material consisting of one thing, latex rubber foam. And you can tell by the Lull label, it's kind of old. It says Sears, Roebuck and Company. I was standing in her driveway and I cut the Lull label off and I turned to her and I said, do you have any idea how long you've had this latex mattress? She and her husband discussed it for a minute. She goes, I'm pretty sure we bought that in 1965. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Would you write me a testimonial that you slept on that mattress 41 years? And she did. She says they bought it in 1965 and slept on it for 41 years. And she said it still sleeps good. The only reason they replaced it is the cover material had a worn hole in it. And it was heavily stained. Now they were using a mattress pad to disguise the rip in the cover. But after a while they decided, you know, maybe we should buy a new mattress. Now typically it's kind of understandable. If your mattress sleeps well, why buy a new one? So you end up sleeping on it for 41 years if it sleeps good for 41 years. The next one, when I picked it up, it didn't have a Lull label on it, but it did have this little tag on it. It's another Sears. And you know, if you think about it, 40, 50 years ago in Roanoke, Virginia, everybody went to Sears to get the mattresses. You didn't have a mattress store on every corner like you do today. There's a mattress store on every corner simply because mattresses don't last as long, which means there's a higher demand for mattresses, which means there's going to be more stores. In any major city that you may live in, you probably have noticed there's a mattress store everywhere. Well, it's proof positive they don't last. But anyway, this tag says 5-inch thick foam latex mattress. I was standing in the woman's bedroom and I said, ma'am, do you have any idea how long you've had this latex mattress? She said she bought it when her son was an infant and he's now 35. So 41 years, 35 years. This one right here, I didn't talk to the customer. When I pulled the Lull label off it, it says all new material consisting of one thing. Notice it has a lot of space to list all the different materials that's in it. It's only listed in one thing, latex rubber foam. I didn't get a testimonial, but interestingly enough, the Lull label, not the Lull label, but the tag had the price tag stitched into it. It's $79.75. That's a pretty good indication of its age. Then several people have written me testimonials over the years, and I've collected. Dot Poindexter wrote me in 2007, and she writes, in 1952, my husband and I purchased our first Englander foam rubber mattress. When we replaced this mattress 39 years later, it was still in excellent condition. There were no indentations at all, and still as firm as the day we bought it. Now notice, there's no body impressions and it hadn't softened. The only reason they replaced it is because they had moved from a full size to a queen size bed. The next testimonial is by John, and he lives in Bedford. He writes, when we moved into our house in February '69, we bought a king size latex mattress from Sears. It has been a very comfortable mattress for 41 years. It's lasted through 3 sons and several dogs and cats. Our old mattress was a 5-inch thick latex and it was comfortable until the end. So 41 years and it was comfortable, just like the lady that had hers for 41 years. She says it was still sleeps good. This woman writes me a testimonial from South Carolina. I'm going to be very thorough, and as you probably have noticed, this video is very long. I'm going to prove everything definitively that I'm claiming. She writes me an email. We enjoyed our latex mattress for 35 years. She sent me the tag that was on it. It says like 6-inch luxurious foam latex mattress. So 35 years. So we're, you know, you're getting the idea, 35 to 40 years. Well, just recently I got one of the most, the longest testimonial, excuse me. She writes me in May of 2013. It is now June 2014. But she wrote in May of 2013, I don't have too much money, but still I've been sleeping on a very comfortable latex mattress since 1963. That's 50 years she slept on a latex mattress. I've heard of 50 years. I finally, last year, got a testimonial that someone had one 50 years. So as you can tell, there's a big difference between plastic foam and latex foam. And I was learning this. Again, I moved the memory foam out, brought in latex. Well, guess what? Latex made today is not the same as it was made 40 years ago. Now, and I had to learn all this the hard way, and this is why it's going to be of benefit to you. Just like, well, for one thing, if you'll notice, in this little tag I have here, it says 5-inch thick. Now, all of these old latex mattresses that I picked up were 5 and 6 inches thick. Now, it begs the question, why did they make it so thin? I mean, a 5-inch thick mattress today is more like a pad, not a mattress. I mean, Americans expect their mattress to look like this, you know, huge. Why only, 6 inches, 5 inches? This said 5 inches. Well, latex is expensive. It's the sap of a tree. They tap the side of a tree by carving into the bark, and it drips into a cup. They get about a pint a day out of a mature tree. So you can imagine how many cups it takes to make a large mattress. So making the mattress thin kept the price down. Now, I brought in brand name latex, and I had 3 different models. I had a real thick pill top. I had a nice plush model. The thinnest model was 10 inches. Was it all latex, do you think? I had to learn the hard way. It had a 6-inch latex core. It had 2 inches of polyurethane foam on both sides. You got to understand, mattress manufacturers understand the consumer today. They will not buy a 5-inch thick mattress. Americans want it like this. And they also understand that you can't make it 10 inches or 12 inches or 18 inches of latex. You couldn't afford it. Neither could you afford it then. They made them thin then. Apparently they would sell. A 5-inch thick mattress wouldn't sell today. So in the case of the thinnest mattress that I sold, they thicken it with the cheap stuff. And sure enough, I started to have people complain about the body impressions in it. And it's rather embarrassing because I was promoting them as latex mattress, the most durable. They last 40 years. Then I had to learn the hard way, well, it's not all latex. Now, I pointed out the foam encasement of the inner spring. It shrinks the amount of steel you use, keeps the price down. Well, guess what? I had to learn the hard way. Latex manufacturers do the same thing. This is a Dormia latex, quote-unquote latex. The Dormia rep brought this and wanted me to sell it. I never sold this particular model, but I kept this demo unit around. Notice it has a 4-inch wide foam encased border that goes around the outside of the latex. There's never a reason to foam encase foam except to reduce the amount of expensive foam you use. Okay? That's the whole reason they do it, not to make you a better product. Well, this is 3 inches, this is 4 inches. The brand that I was selling, I found out later, had a 6-inch foam border around the outside edge. So it had 6 inches of foam all the way around. It had 2 inches of foam on both sides. It had more polyurethane foam in it than it had latex, but yet they called it a latex mattress. This stuff is notorious. Manufacturers do this regularly. Now, to give you kind of an idea, well, let me fast forward a little bit. I make my own latex mattresses now. But let me give you an illustration of how mattress manufacturers make latex. I now make mine all latex, nothing but latex, nothing but the sap of a tree. Latex. I'm going to talk to you about the differences in latex in a minute. But anyway, so I was marketing myself through the videos, much like what you're watching now. And a man in Texas contacted me and said, I like what you're making. I like the fact that it's without fire retardant chemicals, it's pure latex, but I don't know what yours feels like. I'm in Texas. He said, but I am looking at a particular brand, and I think it was a Sealy or a Serta. I'm not sure which, I don't remember. It was a spring-free, I think. It was supposed to be latex. He said, I like this one particular model. What does your mattress feel like next to it? Which version? I make 4 different versions. Which one feels like this one? I like this one. I said, I don't know, but I'll find a local retailer that sells it. I'll go lay on it and tell you which one of mine feels like his. I drove about an hour away. I went into the showroom, mattress showroom, acting like I'm a consumer, and I found the mattress that the model that he was talking about. And I sat on and I asked the salesman, "Is this latex?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Is it all latex?" He said, "Yeah." And it was about 10 inches thick. I said, "It's all latex?" He said, "Yeah." And as I was sitting on it, I noticed there was a zipper along the bottom, and I said, "This thing's got a zipper on it. What's that for?" Of course, I'm kind of playing dumb. And he said, "Well, that's so you can take the cover off and wash it." And I said, "Do you mind if I open it?" He said, "By all means." He was anxious to sell me something, of course. So we stood the mattress up in the showroom floor and we zipped it. This 10-inch mattress had maybe 2.5 inches of latex. It could have been 3, probably more like 2 inches of latex. The rest was polyurethane foam. And I pointed it out to the salesman. I said, "I thought you said this was all latex. It's only got this much latex in it." He looked surprised, and I suspect he probably didn't know any better. He's probably just repeating what the mattress manufacturer's reps have taught him to repeat to the consumer. Same thing I used to do until I learned better. So you have a 10-inch, it has 3 inches of latex in it at most. Now here's an even better example. I was here on a Saturday working. Man came in, was looking at my latex mattresses. He says, "Your mattresses are expensive. There's a latex mattress at a warehouse sale down the street, and it's only, as well as I can remember, about $800. He said, "Why is yours so expensive?" And I said, "Well, theirs is not all latex. I buy latex. It's expensive. I know what it costs. It can't be all latex." He says, "Well, they said it's all latex." And I said, "Well, I can promise you it's not." He said, "Would you be willing to go and look at it when you close your doors at 4 o'clock on Saturday?" And so I said, "Yeah, I'll go look at it." And I took his number down and was going to call him. Now, apparently after he left, he thought about it. He didn't trust me to call him and tell him the truth. So at 4 o'clock, he showed up at my showroom. He and I went down and looked at it together. When we went in there, the sales lady was busy with someone. He took me over to the one he was looking at, and it was about 8 inches thick. And again, it was a kind that had a zippered cover on it. So we unzipped it. I pulled it back. It had 3/4 of an inch of latex in it. The rest was polyurethane, 3/4 of an inch. And they were claiming it was latex. But they'll do that. Mattress retailers, manufacturers, reps, manufacturers marketing will do that. And by the way, speaking of marketing tricks, Spring Air was a company that I dealt with simply because I already knew the mattress manufacturer's rep. So when I started the business, I thought, well, I'll sell Spring Air mattresses. Each year, Spring Air would come out with a new line of mattresses. And, you know, I'll have to drive to their plant to look at their showroom in the new line, decide what I want to put on my showroom. And I was looking at one of their mattresses there. It was a real, just a beautiful, I mean, they make them look just gorgeous on the showroom floor to attract the consumer to purchase it. Now, the mattress I was looking at claimed to have memory foam in it, and I was there with the manufacturer's rep and the man that I think was the plant manager. He was the son of the owner, or one of the owners, and I asked him how much memory foam. Now, this particular mattress claimed to be memory foam. I said, "How much memory foam is in it?" And he said, "Well, it's got memory foam dust in it." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, it's not very much memory foam. We call it memory foam dust." I'm like, and they were laughing. I didn't think it was funny. But this is what mattress manufacturers do. They put very little of the good stuff in it and market it to you as if it's got memory foam in it. Don't tell you that it's only got 3/4 of an inch. You know, what good is that? That's marketing. The bigger the brand name, the bigger the junk and the slicker the marketing. Okay? Now, you know, after a while of selling the latex, selling brand name latex, I thought it's not made the way it's supposed to be. I wonder if I can make my own. I am now a mattress manufacturer and a retailer at the same time, and I make my own latex mattresses. Mattresses made of nothing but latex. Now, I need to teach you about latex, because if you do some research for latex, you're going to run into a lot of different marketing things about latex. There are some manufacturers out there that make a decent latex product. Most make an inferior latex product. I got to teach you about latex. There's two kinds of latex, and there's two ways of making latex, the sap of a tree, into a piece of foam. There is two types of latex. One is the sap of a tree, 100% pure natural, and the other is styrene butadiene. It's synthetic latex. Now, in the case of synthetic latex, it is always produced into a piece of foam with a blend. It is 70, sometimes 80% synthetic, 20 or 30% the sap of a tree. And then the other type, of course, is foam that's nothing but the sap of a tree. When I first started producing my own mattresses, I did use some synthetic latex. And I learned the hard way, this is why it's beneficial for you as a consumer, is that synthetic latex is not as durable as natural. It's not it's not going to bounce back and keep its original shape and its original firmness as well as the real stuff. So you want to avoid synthetic latex. Mattress manufacturers get away with saying it's natural latex because it's got natural in it. So you have to know, okay, is it 100% pure, the sap of a tree and nothing else latex? That's the difference. Now, having said that, there's two ways of making latex into a piece of foam. One is called the Dunlop process, and the other is called the Tallow. The Dunlop process is the original. It is the most primitive. The Tallow process is more technologically advanced, and it is more expensive. The benefits of Tallow is it makes a more consistent piece of latex, whereas the Dunlop latex makes an inconsistent piece of latex. Now, let me explain to you one of the ways it's inconsistent. What they do is that they collect the foam. Let's just talk about the real stuff. They collect the latex and they whip it up into a Cool Whip consistency. It is mixed with some minute other ingredients that have to do with it forming into a solid. They pour it into a mold, a huge mattress mold, and they pour them in 6-inch slabs. And they close the top on it, seal the top on it, and they bake it in an oven. And what happens in the Dunlop process is that the time before it actually forms or hardens, it settles. So if you have and they make 6-inch layers, this is a 3-inch. If they have a 6-inch layer, your bottom half of a Dunlop is going to be a little bit firmer, a little bit more dense than top half because of the settling. The Tallow process, they seal the mold shut and they suck the air out of it, which causes the liquid foam, the liquid Cool Whip, to fill up the mold evenly. It gets rid of bubbles and makes a consistent piece of foam all the way through. It is a minor difference between Dunlop and Tallow, and there are a few other minor things that make the Tallow a more fine piece of foam. But because Tallow is a more complex way of making foam into latex, it means it's more expensive. Well, what they do to offset the expense of the process is they use synthetic in Tallow. 95% of all Tallow latex is a blend of synthetic and natural. 70% synthetic, 30% natural. Synthetic latex does not last. So if you hear the word Tallow, it's a 95% chance that Tallow is blended with synthetic. But they're going to market it to you as if it's natural because it has natural in it. They're going to say it's 100% latex. Well, you can call synthetic latex latex. See how they play with the words? You have to be careful. I produce my own latex mattresses and I use nothing but the sap of a tree. The same as the people who had latex mattresses that lasted 40, 50 years. I had to learn it the hard way. This stuff is durable if it's real, if it's rubber. So obviously I'm not using Tallow, I'm using Dunlop. The inconsistencies does not overcome, the inconsistency of the foam does not overcome the durability. You want the durability of latex. It's still going to sleep wonderfully well. Now, you have to understand, I started making my own mattresses out of necessity. I market myself to the referrals and I have to have a quality product. And so I started producing my own latex mattresses. Now, the first latex mattress I ever produced was my own. Not to be selfish, but simply to try it, make sure that it was going to work. My mattresses are made of a total of 9 inches. My mattresses are 9 inches thick. It is a 6-inch Dunlop core of latex and then a 3-inch slice of Dunlop on top. So it's a 6 and 3. Nothing but sap of a tree latex. About 8 months after I started producing my own mattresses, this is the interesting part, and please pay attention to this because this is critically important information. About 8 months after I started producing my own latex mattresses, the Consumer Product Safety Commission came out with new regulations requiring all mattresses sold in the United States must be flame-proof, or essentially flame-proof. You gotta be careful not to say it's flame-proof, but the burn rate of a mattress has to be extremely slow today versus what it was prior to July 2007. Now, as a licensed bedding producer, I had to do my homework to figure out how to make my mattresses flame-proof. Here's where it gets disturbing. The Consumer Product Safety Commission understands that mattress manufacturers are going to use toxic fire retardant chemicals to make their mattresses flame-proof. And they have their own risk assessment evaluating the toxicity of these chemicals. I have a copy of their report, and it says here potential health effects from the use of fire retardant chemicals in mattresses. And in this report they list the chemicals that will be used. And I think you need to read and understand what they're claiming. Now, the first chemical to meet this flame standard is called ammonium polyphosphate. Notice here in this report it says there were no available data on subchronic exposures, pharmacokinetics, carcinogen'ti, reproductive, developmental, or neurological effects. Now, basically what they're doing is they're admitting to you they have no clue how this is going to affect your health. Or at least that's what they're claiming. That's reassuring. The next chemical is antimony trioxide. Now, antimony is heavy metal. It's more toxic than mercury and lead. And it says here antimony trioxide would be considered toxic under the Federal Hazard Subset. And by the way, antimony trioxide mimics arsenic. Interestingly enough, I have I know several chiropractors, one I'm fairly close friends with. He called me on a Sunday at home one day and he said, do you know, because he was familiar with the chemicals that are in mattresses. I've educated the chiropractors locally as best I can so that they'll know, don't refer their patients to some big brand name mattress manufacturer because it's going to be full of chemicals. He said to me, he goes, are any of the chemicals that are used in mattresses arsenic? And I said, yes, antimony trioxide mimics arsenic. Why do you ask? He said he was out to dinner the night before with a couple, met an individual, a young man, had severe fatigue issues. Young, strong individual, but was tired all the time. And they were discussing it since he's a chiropractor, and come to find out that he went from doctor to doctor to doctor. Finally, he found a doctor to determine he had a high level of arsenic in his body. The chiropractor, being aware, asked him, you haven't bought a mattress recently? He said, yeah, as a matter of fact, about 3 months after I bought my mattress, I started having these fatigue issues. Well, antimony trioxide will cause, if it's arsenic, will cause fatigue issues. The next chemical is boric acid. Now, boric acid is commonly used as roach killer, and it says here, boric acid meets the definition of toxic under the Federal Hazardous Substance Act. So they're admitted to it's toxic. The next one is decabromidiphenyl oxide. They call it DECA for short. It's a bromide, decabromidiphenyl oxide. Notice it says here, decabromidiphenyl oxide meets the definition of toxic by virtue of its chronic organ system toxicity. So it's chronically toxic to your organs. Now, I happened to find an article I think is worth looking at. This is Dr. Mercola's website. Dr. Mercola is a doctor that educates and promotes natural health, natural cures, preventative medicine. Okay, on his website, he has an article that says, "Avoid this if you want to keep your thyroid healthy. Bromides are a common endocrine disruptor." And then on the back page it says, "Fire retardants used in fabrics, carpets, upholstery, and mattresses." So bromides are a common endocrine disruptor. Now you understand why decabromidiphenyl oxide in Consumer Product Safety Commission's report says chronically toxic to your organs. Destroys your thyroid. Interestingly enough, about 3 days ago, right here in my showroom, was talking to a lady that saw a video of mine, not this video obviously because I'm making it now, but the video that I had prior to the one I'm producing now, and she said that, you know, she showed me she had a scar on her neck where they had operated and removed cancerous polyps or sores or something on her thyroid. And she said she bought a new mattress. Well, that problem started in 2010. It was a year or so before that she bought a new mattress, and it was a particular brand name. I'm not going to name the brand. I would love to name the brand. If you come into my showroom and ask me, I will tell you. I will tell you personally, one-on-one, the brand. But anyway, she says, you know, I'm a little concerned of the chemicals, and she said she was a picture of health prior to having that mattress. Well, it just so happens that hearing that story, another couple was in the store and he spoke up and said, you know what? I have a cousin who bought the same brand name mattress and they've had thyroid problems. Coincidence? Well, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. The next chemical is melamine. Now, hopefully you'll remember, this actually came up in the news again recently, but about 5 years ago, pet food or pet treats coming from China was killing and making the pets deathly ill. Well, it was melamine in the pet food. Notice it says here melamine is a fire retardant chemical, and it says melamine is considered acutely toxic. The next one is violidine chloride. It actually says violidine chloride is considered toxic under the Federal Hazardous Substance Act. There's one chemical not listed in this report, and I think there's a reason why they didn't list it. It's a fire retardant chemical, and it's formaldehyde. Now, most people, when they hear formaldehyde, they know what it is. It's a known carcinogen, and it's a flame retardant. Perhaps you'll remember the FEMA trailers after Hurricane Katrina came back from people, you know, the federal government sent FEMA trailers down to New Orleans as a result of the hurricane, and people were getting sick from those. They were getting sick from the formaldehyde that was in the FEMA trailers. Well, it just so happens that I've had two customers who have bought a particular large brand name of memory foam mattresses tell me they've got sick from it, but the same way they get sick from exposure to formaldehyde. The one individual is Mr. Poole. He wrote me a handwritten testimonial. Interestingly, he bought the mattress at a very large furniture store here in Roanoke. They delivered it to his house. He said he didn't even sleep in it. He went into the room, the strong odors that they say you have to air out today. Wonder why you have to air out your mattress? Well, it's full of chemicals, that's why. Well, anyway, he said that the smell started making him ill. And the symptoms he was getting from it are the same symptoms he gets when he's exposed to formaldehyde. Headaches, nausea, shaking. And I said, well, Mr. Poole, as a matter of fact, formaldehyde is a known fire retardant that could be used in mattresses. His response was, well, that's what's in that mattress because I know my symptoms. Now, it's interesting, he's very angry about that because the retail store that sold it to him did not tell him about the fire retardant chemicals, the formaldehyde, in that mattress. Now, it's interesting, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, you know, we as Americans think the Consumer Product Safety Commission is looking out for the consumer. Think about this for a minute. This man would not have bought this mattress had he known there was formaldehyde in it. There's no labeling requirements. The Consumer Product Safety Commission did not require mattress manufacturers to disclose the chemicals they use. Now, they also didn't give you the choice of do you want a flame-proof mattress that has chemicals in it, or you can choose a non-flame-proof mattress and just make the consumer aware that, you know, this one's got some risk because it's not flammable, but this one's got some risk because it's got chemicals. Let the consumer choose. They didn't bother to let the consumer have a choice. They forced it on you. Now, begs the question, were they really looking out for the consumer? If there's no labeling requirements, you could buy a mattress that has chemicals in it that you're allergic to, and you'll never know what you're buying. And the consumers, I mean the mattress manufacturers' reps and the salesmen will not tell you what's in it. So you're buying a mattress that's full of chemicals. Now, I got to back up. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. In this report, they list the chemicals as I just read to them. The next question we need to ask ourselves is, do the chemicals get out of the mattress and into your body? Because if they stay in the mattress, it's safe. Well, even in their own report, they list 3 chemicals. As you'll notice here in this chart, it says antimony, which is antimony trioxide, boric acid, which is roach killer. Antimony destroys your thyroid. Boric acid is roach killer, and decabromodiphenyl, the stuff that destroys your thyroid. Over here on the left, it says ADD, which stands for average daily dose. So your average daily dose of sweat, dermal absorption, oral ingestion, inhalation for total. They're estimating that you're going to absorb into your body 0.8 milligrams of antimony, heavy metal, arsenic, 0.08 milligrams of roach killer, and 0.07 milligrams of the stuff that destroys your thyroid. Every single night is what they're estimating. So they're proving to you that absorb them. Interestingly enough, in the end of their research and their study, they conclude that the consumer will not absorb enough to make anyone sick. Well, interestingly enough, since the law went into effect July 2007, about 7 years ago, I personally had about 77 people testify to me of getting sick from a new mattress they bought somewhere else. So is the Consumer Product Safety Commission not telling us the truth? Well, let me ask you, do they really want you to know the truth if they didn't require mattress manufacturers to put on the law labels what's listed? I mean, when you buy a mattress, it has a law label on it, and it lists the materials that are in it. Horsehair, polyurethane foam, cotton, latex. If it's in there, it's listed. They could have easily required mattress manufacturers to list what chemicals they're using. But they don't want you to know, because they know that if you took the list of chemical, formaldehyde or antimony trioxide, you can go to the internet, look it up, and find out it's toxic. Of course they don't want you to know you're buying a toxic substance, a toxic mattress. Now it begs the question, who are they looking out for? When I first started doing the research on this, I'm reading all kinds of things trying to understand how to make mattresses flame-proof, and I stumbled across some information that I think may illustrate what's going on. Large mattress manufacturers in this country have an association. It's a lobby group. It's called the International Sleep Products Association. They represent many different companies in the industry, in the mattress industry, but they most certainly represent large mattress manufacturers. And what I read is that the International Sleep Products Association supported these new regulations. They were in favor of these new fire retardant regulations. Makes you scratch your head. Why in the world would large mattress manufacturers want these chemicals in their mattresses? Why would they want to make them flame-proof? It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Well, I found a couple articles that may indicate why this happened, what they're doing. Yeah, here we go. The first one is an article out of Furniture Today magazine. Furniture Today is a magazine put out for the furniture industry and so forth. This article was written 5/16/2007, so it was a month and a half before the new law went into effect. And it says, top 100 store chain W.S. Badcock said today it will close its bedding factory rather than make a major expansion that would be required to meet the new federal flammability regulations. Now you got to understand that Badcock is a furniture and mattress retail chain, but they had their own mattress name brand manufacturing facility. They produce their own brand name mattresses. But it says here that the flammability regulations are going to be too expensive, so they're going to close their bedding factory. The next line says, Badcock said it will begin outsourcing all mattress manufacturing to International Bedding Corp, a top 10 bedding producer. So what has happened is large mattress manufacturers who support the International Sleep Products Association, who supported this fire retardant regulation, they're going to have more business while this little company goes out of business. Could it be that the International Sleep Products Association has lobbied or paid someone at the Consumer Product Safety Commission to pass regulations that benefit large mattress manufacturers? That's just one article, but here's another. This is written on newsreview.com. They're interviewing Richard Lash, of Square Deal Mattress Factory. In this article, he admits that he's going to use boric acid to meet the federal flammability regulations. But on the back page it says, the new fire standard will cost mattress manufacturers more than $100 million a year to implement, and it's the most expensive change the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission has ever made, according to a report by Consumer Affairs. So it's expensive change. It's going to cost mattress manufacturers a lot of money. The cost will be too much money for some small companies to absorb, Lash said. He's confident of his own factory's survival, but he's concerned the codes will be the death of other small companies. As you've already illustrated, W.S. Babcock closed their facility. They were a small company. The last line. There are currently 600 mattress manufacturers in the United States, and the new safety codes could eliminate a third of them. Wouldn't you like to eliminate a third of your competition? If the large mattress manufacturers give enough money to ISPA to lobby the Consumer Product Safety Commission, not really lobby, you don't have to lobby them, you pay them under the table. You got to understand, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is not beholden to anyone. You don't vote them into office, you can't fire them, you can't vote them out of office and replace them, they're appointed. And so they don't represent the consumer. Just because they're called the Consumer Product Safety Commission doesn't mean they represent the consumer. They don't represent the consumer. And it's very clear because they didn't give the consumer a choice and they didn't give consumers information about what's in their mattresses. Most people don't even know that this Consumer Product Safety Commission report even exists. I'm sharing it with you because it illustrates that there are chemicals in mattresses. Now, don't take my word for it. There have been news reports both nationally and locally about this chemical issue in mattresses. One I found on CBS2 Chicago website. It's a local affiliate of CBS News, and they did a spot on a Simmons workers in a Simmons plant, and illustrating these people getting sick who work there. I'm wanting to show you that now. You're getting ready to watch that, but throughout it, I'm going to step in and talk to you about it. I'm going to illustrate what's really going on. Try to kind of keep you involved in what's really happening. So take a look at this, and I'll see you in just a second.
Your mattress that's supposed to save your life make you sick. New regulations went into effect this summer, designed to save hundreds of lives. Medical editor Marianne Childers, though, talked to some people who believe they carry a risk, begging the question, what might be in your mattress?
The new standards make mattresses more fire resistant. They'll still burn, but not as fast, because they contain more flame resistant or FR materials. But could the chemicals that make you safer make you sick? One environmental medicine specialist says yes.
We have not adequately studied these chemicals in relation to children, the unborn, the pregnant woman, the elderly.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission says no way.
The CPSC would have never passed a rule that allowed certain materials to be used that would harm consumers.
Notice Julie here says that the Consumer Product Safety Commission would never pass a rule that would harm consumers. Well, tell that to the 77 people that have testified to me getting sick from a new mattress they bought somewhere else. If they're really looking out for the consumer, why don't they put the information on the law labels? No, they're trying to hide it from the consumers. I'll give Julie here the benefit of the doubt. She probably doesn't know any better. She probably doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes. She probably really believes the Consumer Product Safety Commission is looking out for the consumer. You make the decision. Did the Consumer Product Safety Commission get bought and paid for? Oh, by the way, I haven't told you this yet. Well, before I get to that, finish watching this, and I'll break in again in just a second.
But now some workers who handle these materials at the Simmons mattress plant in Janesville, Wisconsin, believe FRs are causing them health problems.
As more of the FR material is being used in the mattresses, I noticed sinus problems and breathing problems and sharp pains in my chest.
The employees complain of irritated eyes, chronic sore throats, bloody noses, respiratory problems, and painful skin rashes.
We all know that we didn't have any of that before we started using the material.
In response to employee concerns, Simmons hired independent testers. They found no levels of anything that violated government safety standards. But when we asked what was in their mattresses, the company did not want to tell us specific materials other than Kevlar, which is known to be non-toxic.
We don't want to put our recipe out there.
Okay, Jonathan Dahl of Simmons here says they don't want to get their recipe out there. They don't want what he's trying to say is that we don't want our competitors to know how we've made our mattresses flame-proof. I've already shown you in the Consumer Product Safety Commission's report that it's going to be one of the 7 chemicals. He doesn't want you to know what chemicals they are, but they can't say we don't want you to know what chemicals are, so he's going to say, well, we don't want our recipe to get out there to our competitors. So they hide it. That was their excuse for hiding it. They're hiding it because they know it's toxic. You make the decision. Keep watching.
Daw told us employees might be reacting to soaps and detergents and fabrics, and says the company provides protective gear for those who request it. But if employees are having problems, could you?
I don't see any concerns for consumers with the components of our product from a health and safety standpoint.
Both Simmons and Serta told us they've tested their materials for years, and they pose no risk.
We've proven that it's safe to our employees, it's safe to the environment, and it's safe to the consumer.
But this mattress maker disagrees.
I've looked to try to find a non-toxic system, and I don't believe any exist.
Mark Strobel makes mattresses at his Indiana factory with minimal flame retardant. Since 2003, he's been campaigning against what he considers dangerous toxic overload.
They are, in fact, using boric acid, which is roach killer.
Serta says boric acid is in one of the FR fibers the company uses, but it's safe.
If you eat too much boric acid, it becomes poisonous. But no one's eating boric acid. No one's eating their mattress.
Alan here says it's safe to the consumer. Really? Safe to the consumer? Why are you trying to hide it? Think about that. Why are they not disclosing to the consumer what it is if it's perfectly safe? I mean, let us know what it is. Let the consumer know what it is. Let them say, oh yeah, I understand what that is. It's safe. Why are they hiding it? You believe him? I don't. And I don't think you should. Keep watching.
FR materials are inside mattresses. They form a barrier just under the cover or ticking. The CPSC says, to the extent that FR chemical treatments remain bound to or within the mattress, exposure and its attendant risk would be minimized. But Mark Strobel is convinced it can get out as mattresses wear.
It's close chronic exposure. You're laying there with full body and breathing contact for your entire lives.
Others fear that what's considered safe now might not be down the road, such as lead in paint or asbestos.
I asked them about the long-term effects, and they said that, the government wouldn't mandate anything, that would have long-term effects, that they knew about. And I said, the government's not always right, I don't think.
An OSHA report on the Simmons plant is pending. The company's confident that OSHA will find nothing wrong. Employees, incidentally, spoke anonymously to us because they don't want to lose their jobs. Even though the materials do not have to be listed on labels, by law, manufacturers have to tell you what's in mattresses, but you have to ask them. The only way to get a chemical-free mattress is by prescription. And if you want to know more about what you're sleeping on, go to our website, cbs2chicago.com. Be sure and click on health. Rob Van?
That's a good thing to talk about because I'm sure people don't think about it until you raise the issue like you did tonight.
It's interesting to check the website.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mary.
Well, I think that was a really good report by a local CBS affiliate. Actually, there is a CBS national affiliate. The CBS National News with Katie Couric actually did a 2-part series on the chemicals that are being used in consumer products. It's really good. You can see that on my website if you want to go look for that. There is a great deal of information suggesting, I think, that they didn't do this for the consumer. Now, I'm going to say something. I just have to say it. I can't let it go. I just can't. It's part of my personality. The Consumer Product Safety Commission passes regulations that are done by a board of people that are appointed to the board of the Consumer Product Safety Commissions. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you didn't vote for these people. You can't fire these people. You can't vote them out of the office and replace them. They're just appointed. Well, they don't represent you. And if they don't represent you, if they don't represent the consumer, who do they represent? Well, I can assure you they represent whoever's paying them the most, whoever can influence them on the side, whereas the general populace doesn't know anything about. This is what I can't let go. And I apologize, maybe you may find this is boring or something like this, but I just can't let this go. You recognize, most of you probably know that in your history lesson when you were in school, you've heard the phrase taxation without representation. Now, this was a phrase that our founding fathers used to illustrate or to complain that, look, Parliament is passing laws against the colonies, and we have no representatives in Parliament to represent us and vote on our behalf. Understandable. If we have no representatives in Parliament, that makes us the mere subjects of Parliament to do with as they wish. And the American colonists says, look, you can't do that. That's not fair. We have our own legislatures to pass our own laws with representatives to pass laws that represent us. So when we created our own Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution says all legislative power herein granted is vested in Congress, which means it's vested in your representative. So if your representative votes for something you don't like, you at least have a little bit of power of maybe getting him out of office and putting somebody else in you like. But if the Consumer Product Safety Commission does it, if they create a law, how do you get rid of them? Now, most consumers, when I give this information to, in fact, I can tell you overwhelmingly, the people that come to my showroom floor and I tell this information to, they say, I don't want a flame retardant mattress if it means sleeping in chemicals. It's very rare that anyone says, well, yeah, I think the chemicals are safe. I trust the Consumer Product Safety Commission, because they're called the Consumer Product Safety Commission. What, the name makes them all of a sudden benevolent and looking out for the consumer? I don't think so. Just because the English Parliament was a body of representatives for England, it made them looking out for the best interests of the colonies? They didn't think so. So when we created our own Constitution, we said, if it didn't go through Congress, it's not law. I mean, the word all, legislative powers vested in Congress, means the word all. It means if it didn't go through Congress, it's not law. But we Americans live by things that the government does through bodies that are not representatives. Tons of laws, which means they don't represent us. They're doing it for someone else. I believe the Consumer Product Safety Commission has been influenced by big money, big business, and now we're sleeping in toxic chemicals and we don't even know anything about it. The average consumer goes into a mattress store or a furniture store, they know nothing about this. I hope it concerns you, it concerns me too. At the end of the CBS 2 Chicago, she says the only way you can get a chemical-free mattress is by prescription. That's correct. Luckily, there's a loophole in the law that says if a doctor writes a prescription for chemical-free, then it's legal for you to get one, or legal for a mattress manufacturer to make one for you. Problem is, most mattress manufacturers don't want to take the risk. It's an $8,000 fine for violating or selling a mattress to a consumer without fire retardancy. And probably most manufacturers don't even know. I've actually talked to a manufacturer, they didn't even know. They had no clue that you could actually do it by prescription. Well, I've already told you I make my own mattresses. I make it 100% the sap of retrieved latex, the stuff that lasts 40 years. It's 100% natural. And my mattresses do not meet federal flammability regulations. It means I can't sell it to you unless a doctor prescribes it. Don't worry, you don't need to make an appointment with your doctor. You simply need to know your doctor's name and fax number. I fax them a prescription form with your name and date of birth on it. They fax it back to me, makes the sale legal. I'm trying to prevent you from sleeping in chemicals, and I'm trying to educate you. You do not want to sleep in chemicals. Okay, one more piece of information, and I'm going to let the fire retardant chemicals issue go. I have to share this with you. I have videos on my website and on the internet about this issue. A chemical manufacturer found my video and called me one time. Left a message, I called him back. We talked on the phone for about an hour. He produces chemicals. He was trying to make the argument to me that the chemicals were perfectly safe. But in the process of talking to him, I found out a very interesting piece of information. The International Sleep Products Association, as I've already said, represents large mattress manufacturers. I also found out he was a member of ISPA. Isn't that interesting? You know, I tried to make the case before that mattress manufacturers, large mattress manufacturers, are trying to eliminate their small competitors, a third of their competitors, through this regulation. Well, isn't it interesting? The chemical industry is is a member of ISPA. No wonder ISPA supported the fire retardant regulations. It's a whirlwind profits for the chemical manufacturers. I mean, if every mattress sold in the United States got to have chemicals in it now, chemical manufacturers are having a heyday. That is the last piece of information I wanted to share with you. When I found that out, it's like, that's it. I'm convinced. It has nothing to do with fire safety. It has nothing to do with the consumer. It has to do with special interests. Now, I want to talk to you about my own mattress. As I've already mentioned, I make a 100% pure natural latex mattress. It's a sap of a tree. It's done by the Dunlop process because that's how I get natural latex. My mattresses have no fire retardant chemicals in them. I do not treat my mattresses with flame retardancy, and you don't need a flame-proof mattress. You do need to stay away from these chemicals. It's made of latex. Here's a piece of latex. There's several things about a latex mattress that makes it better than everything else. As I've already mentioned, it's more durable. The other thing is, you know, people have questions about a foam mattress. Now, foam mattresses are known today in our society as memory foam mattresses. And one of the key elements of memory foam is that it's hot. The reason it's hot is it's a closed cell foam. It cannot breathe, so it retains your body heat really, really well. Well, latex foam is completely opposite of memory foam. Not only is it far more durable, it's an open cell foam, so it can breathe. So it's much cooler, and as you'll notice, this piece of latex has holes in it. All latex has holes in it. It's just the process of which it's made. Just to kind of let you know, it's a big mold. Inside the mold are all these pins. And they pour the liquid in amongst all these pins, they seal it and bake it. When they bake it, the heat is distributed evenly throughout the foam so that it bakes evenly. Think of it in terms of cake batter. If you didn't bake it evenly, it would be gooey in the middle and hard on the outside. Well, you want it to bake perfectly even, so you have a perfectly even piece of foam. So that's the reason for the holes, because of all those pins. Quite frequently, people ask me, well, you know, I'm allergic to latex, so I can't have a latex mattress. That's not true. Great news. Latex, if you're deathly allergic to latex, the foam itself cannot cause an allergic reaction. And the reason is because of the baking process destroys the protein that causes an allergic reaction. I've actually sold a latex mattress to a lady that is deathly allergic to latex, and she sleeps on it every night just fine. In fact, she was so tickled to find a chemical-free mattress because she wrote me a testimonial, name's Brenda, wrote me a testimonial about the mattress she had before was making her sick. So she was delighted to have a piece of latex foam. As I said earlier, my latex mattress is 9 inches thick. It's a 6-inch core of 100% pure natural latex. It's a 3-inch top layer of 100% pure natural latex. Comes in 4 different firmnesses, so you get several choices in firmnesses that you like. Quite frankly, it's the best mattress there is. Nothing compares to latex. It's more durable, it's cooler, it's natural, without fire retardant chemicals, and the comfort, nothing is quite as comfortable as a piece of foam. Another complaint about memory foam, just another reason why latex is so superior to memory foam, other than the things I've already mentioned. People complain about memory foam when they get in it because it molds around their body and holds them there. And if they want to turn over, they have to pick themselves up out of the mold and form a new mold in the memory foam. Well, this is quick recovery. As you can see, you can squeeze it, it bounces right back. It's easy to turn over in. So it's easier to turn over in. Latex mattress also doesn't distribute motion. So 2 people sleeping in a latex mattress will not disturb each other. I mean, it has every benefit above all other types of mattresses. Every benefit. There is no other mattress but a latex mattress, but it has to be 100% natural, and that's what I do. Now, I have 2 locations. I originally started in Roanoke, Virginia. I now have a second location in Henrico, Virginia. It's near Richmond, or within Richmond. So I have 2 places serving Virginia in all latex mattresses. So hopefully you'll come to see me. Now I'm going to do something else. I've got to share this with you. You know, the mattress industry has a lot of marketing spin, little tricks. They make you an inferior product and spin it to you as if it's a superior product. Here's another thing they do. The average retail store has a sale. A sale. You know, your Black Friday sale, your Labor Day sale, your Memorial Day sale, Thanksgiving sale, whatever. They have these special occasions, and we're having a blowout sale, right? Half off sale this weekend. Listen, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. And that's what these retailers do. They insult your intelligence. They mark it up before they mark it down. Now, let me give you several examples of the truth of that. One is my own experience. 15 years ago, shortly after I got married, my wife and I had moved into a new home we bought, and she took over the closet, and I needed a wardrobe. We wanted to go look for a wardrobe that matched the pieces that we had in our bedroom. We went from several different furniture stores, and we found one furniture store in Roanoke that had a wardrobe that matched identical to what we had. But our budget was tight. We decided, well, we'll just take our time. We'll shop several different places. That was like in the middle of the week. Well, by the time the weekend was drawing around, we saw in the paper that this furniture store was having a store-wide sale. And I thought, this is great. We can go back and get that wardrobe cheaper. So that Saturday, we went to the furniture store, went in there, and they had this bright, shiny sign on there. And guess what? The price was higher. The sale sticker, the bright sale sticker, was higher than what we saw during the week. And of course, I had the salesman's business card. I went over to the desk and I said, is the salesman here? And they said, well, he's with another customer. We'll send him over. When he finally came over, I said, dude, come here. I want you to explain to me why the sale price is higher than what we saw earlier this week. We were in here on Wednesday. He said, shh, don't worry, I'll get you the regular price. That's a marketing gimmick. They're having a store-wide sale and the prices are higher. Another example was a man that came to see me about my latex. What happened was he had bought a memory foam mattress made by Spring Air. He bought it at a local furniture store because a buddy of his was a district manager of this furniture store. And he got him a great deal, he said. He got me a half-off deal on this price. He gave me a great deal. He goes, I know it didn't last but about 5 years, but still, it was a real good deal. And I said, what brand was it? He told me it was a Spring Air. I said, well, I used to sell Spring Air memory foam. I said, do you know the name? He says, I can't remember. I said, what did it look like? So he explained what it looked like. I said, yeah, I know that model. It was the Sleep Fitness 307. I used to sell that mattress. I thought that was back when I thought memory foam was the grandest thing in the world. I said, what did you pay for it? He said $1,700. It was half. It was normally $34. And I laughed and I said, I sold that mattress on a daily basis for $16.99. I said, I hate to break it to you, but your friend didn't give you a deal. He convinced you he gave you a deal. But this is what mattress stores do. They mark it up before they mark it down. I want you to know something. I do not insult your intelligence. I don't think you're that stupid. These mattress stores think the consumer is dumb. I don't. I have one price. It's the same price for everybody at all times. I don't mark it up to mark it down to insult your intelligence. This is notorious in the industry. This is notorious in the furniture mattress industry. I do not do business that way. I do business by telling you the truth about mattresses. I do business by giving you a superior quality product, and I give you one price. I hope you will come to see me. Again, I'm in 2 locations. The first location's in Orange Avenue in Roanoke, Virginia. Orange Avenue is the busiest highway in Roanoke. And the other is a new location in Henrico, Virginia. It's basically Richmond, Virginia. It's near the airport. It's the address is 5139. Think about it a second. It's a brand new location. 5139 Glen Alden Drive in Henrico. I'll give you the information at the end of the video, and it's on my website with the store hours. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it. I hope it's been of benefit to you. You want a quality product, please come and see me.